Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with a quick tutorial video on AR-15 lower receivers and the different types of cuts that you may see in the guns that you are looking at buying or personally own. I have three AR-15 receivers here on the table tonight. I have a Colt, a Bushmaster, and a PRI, and each one of these are cut out differently in the area where the trigger group goes. Now all of these receivers are semi-automatic only, and just like they came from the factory, so they are all completely legal. But I wanted to show you the different ways that these can be cut out and maybe speculate on why some of them are different and what you have to look for, especially if you plan on putting in some type of custom trigger. So we're going to start here with the PRI lower receiver. And this is referred to as an M16 cut. So the way that this is cut, minus the third hole that would be drilled right here, this is the same way that it would be cut for an M16 fully automatic machine gun. So as you can see, this area here above the safety selector switch is completely open. The walls of the receiver are straight. There's no extra material in there. And there's even a cutaway here on the shelf. So if you were an SOT or somebody that can legally manufacture machine guns, all they would have to do is drill that pin right above the safety selector and put in an auto sear. Now these are completely legal, even though all of this material is cut out. The only thing you cannot do is drill that third pin. I find that a lot of people find this one to be the most desirable. Even though they're not going to convert them into a machine gun or do anything illegal with them, they just like to have that option and know this is as close as you can get to a real M16. The next lower receiver I'm going to show you is the Bushmaster. Now this is the version of a lower receiver that I think I see the most. So we have this area above the safety selector switch that is milled out. However, as you can see, the walls here are thicker and that shelf is not milled out here in the bottom. So if you were an SOT or wanted to put in a auto sear on this, this would require a lot more milling and time to get right. Now I think that some manufacturers do this to make it harder to illegally convert these firearms. So in a way, they're kind of going along with gun control laws. Even though that other receiver that I showed you is completely legal, they do this possibly for liability reasons. Now an advantage to this type of receiver as compared to the one I'm going to show you next is that this area still is completely milled out. So all semi-automatic triggers and all of the self-contained triggers like Timinis and so forth will work and fit in these types of lower receivers absolutely fine. Now the last receiver I'm going to show you is a Colt. This one's an older Colt, but as you can see, we not only have the thicker walls, but we also have this area right here that is not milled out. So this is, I think, because back in the 1990s, Colt was trying to work with the government, get government contracts, and they said, okay, we're going to make our lower receivers as difficult as possible for someone to illegally convert them. So they keep all of this material in here. Now, this is going to work with most of your triggers. In fact, this lower receiver has a Geisley trigger in it. However, I have heard that some of those self-contained trigger units like the Timony triggers or so forth might have particular models that will not fit in here because they will not clear this area right here. Now, I have never encountered that, but I have heard of stories of that happening. Now, some people will hate Colt for this, even though it does not affect the semi-automatic operation of the firearm. Just the fact that they do this is kind of a middle finger at the civilian population, and I can understand why some people would not like that. Now, these are the typical cuts that I have seen on AR-15s and the ones that are in my personal collection, but a lot of people don't know the differences between those. So when you're buying an AR-15 or building an AR-15, if you know what you're looking for or care about this kind of stuff, you now have a little bit more information. Personally, these are the ones that I think are the most desirable just because they're the closest to a real M16 machine gun. And even though you're not going to illegally convert it, it is the closest that you can get, and I guess you could say it's the one that gives you the most freedom. But you can take that information and do with it what you want. And I understand you wanting to support certain companies for various reasons. So now when you buy an AR-15, you know what to look for when it comes to these different types of receivers. So let me know if you learned something in this video, and as always, thanks for watching.